Thanks so much for the intro, and it's really great to be back on the OnlineX virtual stage. It was an honor to be a part of the inaugural OnlineX gathering, and it's amazing to see how this business has gone from an infancy stage to really developing a really thriving online community. And a big thanks goes to Dennis and Danny and the whole OnlineX team for the opportunity. Myself and Darren are here today to hopefully inspire you guys on how to get the most out of your Google advertising and really future-proof your business online in this new normal we find ourselves in. So again, by way of introduction, I'm Brett Perlstein. And guys, what happens if I told you that this COVID-19 pandemic should rather not be seen as a crisis, but rather as an opportunity? And in fact, the biggest gold rush we've seen in our generation to date, where every business is trying to stake its claim. We've learned two things in the past 3 months. Number one, that old ways of work don't work anymore. And number two, in this new normal we've woken up in, things may never return to what we were previously. So in this gold rush where people are spending more time online and happy to buy digitally from the comfort of their own home, what happens if I told you that you need to come to terms with the fact that in some way you are now an online business? So why am I telling you all of this? Well, a little bit about my story. I'm an accountant by profession who spent the beginning part of my career consulting to SMEs in the audit profession. I was then lucky enough to get the opportunity to move with my company overseas to the Big Apple in the US, where I continued my pursuit of my career in the audit world, in the SME world. I then got offered a chance to move into management consulting, where I sadly fell prey to what I now like to call a visa whoopsie. While I had an American immigration lawyer working on my American dream, I fled across the border into Canada, where I was lucky enough to have a bit of network. And at a dinner, I met up with my now long-standing tech business partners and the owners of Search Kings Canada. I spent some time getting to understand their business and in their offices in downtown Toronto, and watched how they use technology and the Google Ads platform to drive unbelievable amounts of growth and bottom line results for their customers. So after some much negotiation with my then girlfriend and now mother of my child, I reassessed some personal and professional goals and hopped on a plane, brand, IP, and idea in hand, and the rest, as they say, is history. I now wake up with a massive smile on my face and my incredible team of 15 certified Google Ads professionals, and we get to service 250 local, north of 250 local businesses and help them generate leads through the power of paid Google advertising. We're a global Google Premier partner held in the highest esteem by Google, and we really don't see ourselves as a jack of all trades, but rather a master of one, and try to be the kings of search. We've taken a unique approach to how we execute on the Google Ads platform, and we don't hire people from a traditional marketing background, but rather engineers, accountants, a guy with an MBA, and even a rally driver to boot. So we really look at the way we build our Google marketing strategies by getting to understand your business and working backwards towards building Google Ad strategies from there. So we talk to multitude of business owners, and we really see them in one of three phases when they're starting to move budgets onto Google. The one being a business owner who's thought about it, but hasn't yet pushed the button and actioned it. The next being somebody who's tried it and doing it themselves. And the last being somebody who feels that it's a bit too complex for them and they've hired an agency. So what I thought we would share some lessons with you today about our journey to this point, and hopefully, irrespective of which category you fall into, you will leave with some practical tips and some insights into how you can grow a successful business on Google. As you all know, as you can see, Danny is running an amazing poll with some key thoughts that we want you guys to all think about. And as Dennis said, we'll be picking the 5 bet questions for a Q&A, and 5 lucky winners can win a 30-minute free consultation with one of our certified Google Ad experts to the value of 650 Rand. So I thought, who better to join me on this talk than Darren Brick himself. Darren has had a multitude of experience, and he's the Google Ads director and is the manager of our team of certified Google Ads experts. He is well over the 10,000 hours in the saddle on the Google Ads platform, And he's on the ground every single day, defining and building strategies for our customers and helping them get the best out of the Google Ads platform. So Darren, without further ado, tell us a little bit more about why we've called this talk the Rule of Three.
Thanks, Brett. I'm super excited to be here today, and hopefully I can lend some practical experience to each and every one of you, no matter what position you might hold, and no matter who might be managing your presence on Google. When speaking to the guys at OnlineX, they asked us to present you guys some hard-hitting practical advice. So we thought, there's no better place to look within our own team. So with the help of some of the most qualified Google ad specialists in the country, we came up with the Rule of Three. 3 common mistakes business owners make going online, 3 common whoopsies, as we call it, we pick up when doing account audits for our clients, and 3 key Google data points you should be leveraging to make smarter business decisions.
All right, Darren, so let's dive straight into it. Why don't you tell us about the first mistake we commonly see business owners make?
So, the first one, and this is something that we see over and over again, and, people underestimate the value of mobile and why a mobile website is so important in 2020. Interesting fact, South Africa is one of the first countries in the world for mobile traffic to overtake desktop traffic. And Google has recently changed its backend algorithm to penalize websites now that are not mobile friendly, seeing it as a fundamental part of the user experience. So, that Darren, in itself.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry to disturb you there. No, I mean, if you go.
Okay, so just on that, I know we were here to give you some practical advice. So I thought, there's no better way to do this than show you on the systems and give you guys some real practical free tools on how you can execute, your online and see if your website is getting ranked correctly for mobile by Google themselves.
Darren, I'm a business owner. How do I know if I have this problem in my business, particularly on my website?
So, the first place would go is straight into Google Analytics. This is Google's free software that is going to show you exactly what's going on in the back end under the hood in your website. When going into this platform, you'll go and navigate to the mobile tab. Under that, as you can see on the screen, you're going to hit the overview. And this will show you a screen that's going to split out your users for the date range you've selected based on device. So we're going to see mobile, desktop, and tablet here. For this example, we've got a total of 271 users, and we see a definitive skew to mobile traffic of 147 users, which is coming to about 55% of your total traffic. But if you take a bit of a deeper look and look at the type of engagement coming off mobile users, we start to see a couple errors, so issues that really are starting to tell a bit of a different story. So as we can see, we've got 27 seconds on site. There's an issue here. We've got 55%, remember, of our traffic, and if we look at desktop, we're looking at roughly 3 minutes on site. So what's going on here? And if we have to go a level deeper and we look at what type of conversions are coming from this traffic, we see there's a definitive issue. We've got 0 conversions compared to 4 conversions and a 0 conversion rate. So what's going on here? We've looked at Google Analytics, and we basically are high level looking at this definitively an issue. We have got a skew towards mobile, but our engagement is showing us that there's a definitive drop-off that's happening. So once we have this,
so Darren, I clearly see we have a problem here. Darren, we clearly have a problem here. So what practical tools can you give me as the business owner to help me fix the error that we've clearly highlighted?
Okay, so I mean, you know, as I said earlier, we're going to give you some really cool free tools that you guys are going to be able to use. We will be sharing these tools after the presentation, and I really encourage you guys to go in and try it out. All you need to do for this one that we're showing you on here, which is a mobile friendliness test, is enter in your URL, and Google will give you a report that is customized to your own website. This report will really indicate, as I said earlier, Google has changed your algorithm to penalize you. So this is going to show you how they're penalizing you and what essentially are they looking at that you are not doing correctly. Yeah, when you get this report, you can download all your reports here and you can send it off to the relevant parties. The next tool that we thought would give you guys is a mobile site speed test. This, again, super easy to use. Throw your URL in here. And what Google's going to do here is it's going to test your website's mobile speed. The interesting thing here is that even if you do it on your Wi-Fi connection, it's going to give you your load time and your site speed based on 4G and 3G, which is imperative to understanding the mobile journey. Once again, you can download this tool, download the reports, and they're going to be very customized to your website. So two really cool tools here to run through and really engage with after this webinar.
All right, Darren, that's some great practical advice. Let's talk about the second biggest mistake we see business owner makes. What do you think that is?
So this is the next one. You know, we often see guys undervalue the importance of Google My Business. So if you're asking what Google My Business is, this is the modern day Yellow Pages and it's completely free. So if you look at the screen we are showing you here, you can see on the right there, we've pulled up Search King's Google My Business. And essentially, this is an online directory for people to locate your business and understand all the basic business information like operating hours, numbers, third-party reviews, products, pictures, your team, your offices. You know, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to this and see how many times have you guys engaged with this tool, one, and secondly, how many times have you been frustrated when the information is incorrect? You're either getting sent to the wrong place or the number doesn't exist. So I think, yeah, once again, we're looking at practical knowledge here, practical, how can you fix this, Darren, you might ask. So if you type in to Google your business name and you'll see your Google My Business listing come up. And as we've circled in red here, if you see a link that says own this business, no one has claimed it. All you need to do is click this link, follow the steps that Google gives you and own your Google My Business. This is imperative. It will allow you to design and control your presence on Google. Google, again, is starting to rank this and use this more predominantly in the SEO rankings. So it's an easy win, and it's something that I'm sure you guys can all relate to. You're engaging on a day-to-day basis with on Google. If you want some pro tips on Google My Business, firstly, ensure your map pin is correctly placed every so often. Because Google is a user-based system, anyone can move your pin around. And that's why if you've ever gone into Google Maps and gone to a place and suddenly you're sitting at McDonald's and not at your customer, it's because someone moved that pin and they have not changed it. So if you do not own this Google My Business page, once again, you're not going to know this. And even if you do, you just need to check this because there's no way that you can stop this from happening. You can go back and correct it, but you need to just have eyes on it. The second part is that we see, and this happens, I can't even tell you, and you would think this is something that wouldn't happen, but it is often overlooked. When setting up the Google My Business, the marketer or the developer sets it up for the company. And what happens is this isn't a sustainable way to set up your online directory, essentially. What happens is, and for whatever reasons, the marketing manager moves on, the web company changes, and suddenly we put in a position where we can't get control over this. And it is a disaster to try and go backwards from that point. So when setting this up, use a sustainable email, company email that you guys can access no matter what happens, and make it a sustainable setup. The last point I'm going to talk about on Google My Business is third-party reviews. And this is becoming huge. Google, once again, is throwing this into their SEO algorithm. It's really starting to see how you guys as business owners or as businesses are engaging back to people online. And it's becoming a huge, it becomes a huge point when people are in the decision-making phase and deciding between your business and your competitor's business. So my advice is to you, reply, even if it is a bad or negative comment. There's nothing we can do about negative comments. All you want to do is reply back to these comments. The more Google sees you replying, the more it's going to see you taking part of their actual system.
Yeah, Darren, I mean, that brings me to an interesting point. I mean, guys, what we've done in our business is incentivize our employees to constantly reach out to our customers when they have had a positive customer experience and leave that review on Google My Business about the experience that they've had. And this has been fundamental to our success and a huge lead driver in growing our brand. So Darren, let's talk about the third mistake business owners make.
So the third one, and again, this I think makes our job as an agency a bit tricky, and it's something that I really wanted to talk about here. Is we start looking at, we need to start looking at data over longer trends. Often the mistake business owners make is they make rash decisions based on small sample data because there might be a sudden downturn in traffic or leads. My advice is to you guys, don't get panicky. You need to be patient and have enough skin in the game to at least have 90 days worth of data in this marketing channel. When you're making decisions based on data, when you're making data-driven decisions that need to be made with large data samples, where you can analyze trends of data rather than making decisions on anomalies. And trust me with this, you will have bad days. I've seen it where it rains outside or the cricket's on or whatever it might be, and people's online behavior changes. So you do not want to be making rash decisions based on anomalies. You need to be looking at trends of data so we can make sound decisions that at the end of the day are sustainable and have long-lasting positive effects on the accounts.
Oh, Darren, I mean, I think that's really, really powerful advice. And just to recap there, guys, we spoke about the biggest mistakes being the power of mobile responsiveness on your website, your ability to leverage Google My Business as a platform for your business growth, and ensuring that you're looking at longer periods of data and not panicking. So, Darren, let's talk about 3 common whoopsies we pick up whenever we're doing free account evaluations for people, whether they're using an agency or doing it themselves.
So the first one we always see is, guys go and inflate their numbers from poaching traffic from organic. They start poaching organic traffic by buying their brand name. So just, for the purpose of this talk, we thought we would show you a practical example on how, we went and bid it on our own name, so we can show you the difference between a Google ad and an organic listing. So over here, if you type in Search Kings, the difference here between paid advert and organic listing is the paid advert will have the black ad badge on the top left, and your organic won't. What will happen here is essentially the first mistake. What lands up happening here is they land up inflating their numbers, which look good because they are stealing traffic from traffic that you're always going to get. If you have a competitor bidding on your name, there might be game to have your ad up there. But if not, and this happens all the time, there's no competition bidding on your brand name. they'll end up just bidding on it and getting conversion numbers and increasing their conversion rate falsely nearly by taking business that you guys are always going to get. Remember, the aim of this marketing channel is to generate new business and get your brand in front of new potential clients, not try and skew the numbers to business you guys were already always going to get. So,
okay, what about the second? What about the second piece?
So the next mistake agencies always make is they create meaningless reports. And this is, for me, a really touchy topic because reporting, I think, is overdone and overkilled and nearly done all the time to show worth, when essentially the point of reporting is not to show you absolutely everything that we've done. You've paid us to do our professional service. It's not to inundate you with terms and numbers that essentially you do not understand. Reports need to be honest and they need to show value. You need to be able to look at them and really pull value from them at the end of the day. And going back to the previous topic we spoke about, reporting is often used to skew and confuse clients because at the end of the day, and excuse my French, but bullshit baffles brains. And it's very easy in this industry to skew your perception and make you think we're doing better than we are by showing you your leads by channel, and Google leads are all the way up and our conversion rate's fantastic. But then when we do our free account evaluation, we look under the hood like we did with our mobile test earlier, and we start seeing, wait a second, 90% of these leads are actually coming from brand names, and no one's bidding on these guys' brand name. So at the end of the day, all that's happening is we're not moving the bottom line. And for me, as I did my MBA, and for me, I'm quite commercially inclined. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about return on investment at the end of the day. And that comes straight into this next slide, where we talk to our clients about 1, vanity metrics, and 2, impact metrics. And I know Brett loves the saying, drive for show, putt for dough. And at the end of the day, you can step up to the box and hit the most beautiful drive when you're playing golf. But if you can't sink your putts, you're never going to drop your score. And if you can't impact the right metrics, if you can't really optimize around impact metrics, you're never going to move your bottom line. So at this point, you might be asking, what's a vanity metric? What's an impact metric? A vanity metric at the end of the day, and these are why they are always reported on, they are commonly known, they're easily relatable, and they look good. They look good essentially. And stuff like web traffic, impressions, clicks, bounce rates, I'm sure you guys have all heard them. At the end of the day, that's not going to move your bottom line. What's going to move your bottom line is how you take those and then take the engagement from those and look at what type of impact are we getting from there? What is your cost per lead? How much is each lead costing you for that marketing channel? What's your impression share? And we're going to get to impression share shortly because that is a key impact metric. And thirdly, what is the volume of leads you're getting per marketing channel so you can start determining the return on investment? Are you making money? Are you moving the needle?
So Darren, I mean, as a business owner, I know that data is really important. And I know the more data I have, the smarter business decisions I make. And I actually see there's a great question here from Chris Van Sale. And Chris, I hope this slide helps put your mind at ease. But what do you think, in your experience, is the biggest trick that most business owners makes with regards to understanding their data and getting involved in their online marketing?
So I mean, let's go straight to that question. And at the end of the day, this is something we always encounter, and it's probably also because we are seen as digital marketers and we get put under the umbrella marketing. At the end of the day, the point of contact that is given to us is essential. And at the end of the day, this is an issue that is twofold. It's on the agency that they're not demanding the correct point of contact or POC. And then I'll flip it back onto your business owners and say, can you honestly say you're giving the right point of contact to a marketing channel that is data driven? You know, this is not traditional marketing, and essentially this is essentially an online sales team that never sleeps. And there is amazing data in the reporting that sometimes a junior marketing manager just cannot leverage off or cannot understand. With the wrong point of contact, Google Ads most of the time lands up running in isolation to your business, when at the end of the day, being this online salesperson, it needs to run as an extension of your business. So my advice to all you guys out there is, don't wait for an agency to realize they've got the wrong contact person. Make sure you're giving them a person who will be able to maximize the value from online sales data.
Great. Darren, I mean, really, really insightful stuff there. And I think, you know, a good segue here is now you've spoken to business owners about, you know, the importance of them getting involved, and hopefully, Chris, we've answered your question. What specific data are you talking about? How can you present me 3 practical things that can help me make these smarter business decisions we've been speaking of?
Okay, so you know, the last part to the rule of 3, we're going to be looking at 3 tangible key Google data points that I think you guys need to know, and they're going to help you ensure that you have 1, realistic expectations from this type of marketing channel. 2, ensure you're setting up, you know, to squeeze as much juice as possible for every rand spent with Google Ads. And 3, to ensure you are getting added value past lead generation from Google Ads. So the first data point we're going to look at, and this is something we spoke about as an impact metric, is impression share. And by understanding impression share, you'll be able to have a realistic expectation of what you should be getting from your marketing channel and what type of expectations you should be having with the budget you're putting in. So, you know, at this point, you might be like, well, what is impression share now? So essentially, impression share is your share of voice. It's a percentage that represents your share of voice in the competitive market you are competing in. And this is, you know, this is determined by 1, what keywords you've decided to bid on, and 2, in what geographical area we are targeting with the budget we have got. So essentially, the more keywords you're adding, or the larger your geographical region you want to target, the more budget you're going to need to complement that. So always remember, you know, when you're putting X rand in, what are you trying to get and what are we trying to achieve? Because at the end of the day, with a finite budget, it's very hard to be everything to everyone. And, you know, the biggest issue, the biggest mistake people have is they get disillusioned by the return they're expecting from a nearly nominal budget that they're putting into this marketing channel. You know, we always talk to our clients, rather be the big fish in the small pond rather than the small fish in the big pond here. And you know, just, you know, quite practically, if you want to think about it, if there are 100 people in the room and it costs you 1 rand to speak to each people, think of the chances of converting if you only come to the table with 5 rand, 10 rand. Yeah, and I mean,
that brings me to an interesting story that I'd like to share with you guys. Is that, you know, I was on a sales call the other day where somebody described Google advertising as basically a monthly subscription where you put a nominal amount in, and whenever you Google your brand or some basic keyword, you see your ad on the top of Google, and that's really mission accomplished. And I think if we can just help you guys change your perception and think about this rather as not as a marketing channel, but as a lead generation channel, then your commitment from a budgetary perspective and the way you see the outcome of success here changes dramatically.
So 100%. I mean, you know, the truth is that your exposure and setup that we create in Google Ads is essentially a function of budget. And you need to be adjusting your budget, or essentially you're going to land up, and this often happens, spreading yourself way too thin and trying to achieve and be everything to everyone when you can't. There's always going to be an opportunity cost. And often we need to start off smaller, start off a bit tighter, and then start expanding as we read and as we learn your impression share.
Great,
So
Darren. Let's go into the second point.
Yeah, the second data point that we wanted to really talk about here is quite an interesting one, because it's our job as Google Ads professionals is to bring you leads, not to close the sale. That's on you. But if you're not closing the sale, it's going to impact our journey at the end of the day. So we wanted to look at the link between marketing and sales, and for this we need to look at what actions on your website are we defining as leads. At Search Kings, we look at predominantly online forms 1 and 2, your phone calls. These lead drivers, what we decide are going to be key lead indicators, are going to impact, one, how we optimize towards those, 2, what we're reporting on, and 3, how we're determining what the return on investment is going to be. So, at the end of the day, we need to, and this comes onto the next slide, we need to look at how we can close the gap between lead and sale. So for us, we've got 250 plus clients around the country, actually the globe right now. And I can tell you around 60 to 65% of those inbound leads are coming through the phone call. So even though you're engaging online, and even though people are searching and starting off the journey on Google, they're picking up the phone and they want that engagement on the phone first. So, you need to ask yourself, one, are you tracking these calls? We've got a proprietary software that we use to track and record and pull back that data into Google Ads that we use to do this. And as our clients, you get access into this, and fantastic training tool. But at the end of the day, are these calls getting funneled to the correct person? If someone's calling, who's answering? And then you're spending a lot of money generating these leads. And if you don't have your best salesperson in the organization answering it, what's going to happen? I'm sure you guys can all think about personal experiences where you've been sent from pillar to post, getting thrown around a call center, or just waiting for 3-4 minutes, and eventually hanging up. And I can tell you from our call tracking software, I've listened to this type of interaction. I've seen this behavior. The data has come back, and I can tell you, if someone's sitting for too long trying to get hold of you, they're going to put down, you're going to lose that lead. And secondly, if the wrong point of contact is, I've seen how frustrating it is when someone cannot answer them, or it's going to the reception desk, and now I'm going to wait on the phone for another 5 minutes to, that person not to answer and get routed to someone else. So just think about this journey. The phone call, 60 to 65% skew on phone calls is ginormous. And we've got a decent sized portfolio that we're sampling this data off. So the final key Google data point that I want to discuss is your keyword strategy. Often we see these keyword strategies that guys try to put forward are way too broad, and they're not essentially driving the right targeted search queries to your business. And often from conversation with clients that come to us, if they're doing it themselves, if they've worked with other agencies or freelancers, they're developing keyword strategies based on any keyword that has any relatability to the business. And at the end of the day, as I said earlier, we need to look at impression share. We've got to look at first starting off small, rather look at solution-based keywords and start there as your call and then move up. So, just to quickly show you where this keyword is, again, from a practical standpoint, I want to show you where you guys can see the actual search queries that people are typing in when clicking on your ads. So in Google Analytics, again, you go to acquisitions. This is all traffic coming, data for all traffic coming onto your website. Click on Google Ads, and then click on search queries, and obviously define your date range accordingly to see how much data you want to bring in. And you know, the crazy thing is that most business owners we talk to have never seen this report. They've never engaged with it, which is, I mean, this is mind-blowing to me, because the amount of insights you guys as business owners can get from this type of report by understanding how your consumers are thinking about your product without you even asking them is ginormous. I mean, we've had amazing case studies that we've come from.
So yeah, Darren, I mean, on that, maybe it's a good time to share some practical scenarios with you guys. So the first one comes from a local ice cream brand who we were really buying traffic for them on quite a broad basis. And, you know, what we got when we dived deeper into data is we found that there was a large volume of search queries for people looking specifically for ice cream cakes. And when we analyzed those leads and listened to the phone calls, we got to understand that what this business was doing was actually sending those leads to their competitor down the road. So we sat down with the business owner and put it a challenge to him that said, what happens if you create a mold and throw 3 tubs of ice cream in there and boom, you've got an ice cream cake? I can now safely tell you that ice cream cakes account for more than 35% of their monthly revenue. And this revelation would not have been possible if it wasn't for the data that they gained out of the Google search query report. The next one comes from a business owner who was opening a whole bunch of shared offices. And he came to us and requested, he was looking at 3 potential buildings in 3 different geographic locations and wanted to know, based on demand, what was the best location for him to open this new office. So what me and Darren and our team did is we started buying traffic in those 3 areas and used that traffic and the data from that traffic with the business owner to make a decision on where best to purchase that building. And he subsequently purchased the building in that area and was able to fill that building up far quicker than expectation. So just to summarize here, guys, I think the big question we're being asked right now is, the world is in a pandemic, and as business owners, the #1 budget that tends to go first is our marketing budget. So, you know, should we be advertising at a time like this? And I think I can tell you that in our portfolio, the businesses that were brave enough to keep their marketing budget online, we're seeing one of a few things. A, they were seeing a greater impression share for a lower cost. B, they were getting a lower cost per click because there was less competition in the market. And they were generating cost per leads at lower than ever. As data dudes, you know, we went back to the last financial crisis back in 2008 and looked at, did this data corroborate with what happened back then? And true to form, those brands and business owners who were brave enough to keep marketing through these turbulent and difficult waters came out with stronger businesses, with greater brand recall, and recovered far quicker. So a little bit of personal experience here and a personal anecdote of my pandemic lockdown journey to date. I was lucky enough to have my first child the day before lockdown, actually on my birthday. And not since World War II do I think a global event will have such an impact on so many lives. And I really think for my son, it's an exciting time to be born because, you know, as the whole world learns to adapt and we learn new tricks, this guy gets to learn from scratch. I think really no one has a head start anymore. And what I'm leaving you with is the thought that we really need to adapt or get left behind. For those of you who don't follow the Heavy Chef podcast, I highly recommend you do. This was a talk done by Robert Paddocks, a trailblazer in the South African entrepreneurial space. He was the founder of Get Smarter, who he sold that edutech business in 2018 for 1.4 billion Rand, one of the true only South African tech unicorns. He's now started a really interesting business called the Valencia Institute, which plans to be the first global, fully digital high school online. But the message he left was truly inspiring, and one I really want you guys to leave with is that COVID-19 isn't creating new trends, but rather accelerating existing ones that have been in the market for a while. Google and the Google Ads platform has been around for 20 years. And Google advertising is nothing new. But now, more than ever, has Google been more important. And if this online marketing platform doesn't form part of your business marketing and customer acquisition strategy, well, the time, my friends, is now. And on that note, I really want to thank Darren for sharing his incredible insights and expertise. And I wanted to thank both Danny and Dennis and the OnlineX team for giving us this opportunity. And we wanted to open the floor up to a few questions. Darren, have you had a chance to review the questions, and can we pick 5 lucky winners?
Yeah, I've had a quick run through, but I wanted, maybe we should talk a bit about, Brett, about Google My Business and verification. I've seen a hell of a lot of questions coming through about that. So, maybe give us some light on what that environment is looking like. And, just again, expectation setting. We're dealing with a ginormous conglomerate. So, why don't you paint a bit of the picture about Google My Business for everyone?
Okay, so you guys, I mean, it's a very powerful product, and I'm happy to, just going back on the questions here. I see somebody asks about, is having a Google My Business page important because of COVID and everyone working from home? This is Grant Boozer. Yes, Grant, more than ever, I actually think you have the ability on the Google My Business platform to say that either you service customers from your geographic location, or you service customers in their geographic location. So still having a business location on the map is incredibly important, even during this time. The getting your business verified on Google, sadly, still is quite a cumbersome process, and you do need to wait for your Google My Business postcard to arrive, which can take anywhere from 7 to 21 days. I wish I had a better solution for you guys, but sadly, we didn't build the product. We just help execute on it. So Grant Boozer, we're happy to make you the first winner of and the first question. Darren, any other questions that jumped out at you that you'd like to touch?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I've got a question from a Bronson. Can Google Ads be used in isolation, or would I need to use other channels in combination to Google Ads? So, I mean, this is a really, really good question, Bronson. For me, one, it comes down to always what's your budget and what you're trying to achieve. Google Ads at the end of the day is one of a kind. It's a direct response marketing channel. So the intention of someone on Google Ads is to look for a solution. Hence why I spoke about keywords starting off more solution focused. The other channels come in combination. We talk to our clients all the time, especially e-commerce, omni-channel marketing strategies. Look across everything. 100% believe in that. We are experts in one of those channels. But when it comes down to often the most bang for buck, because of the intention of a user on Google Ads, I'll always say start off with Google Ads. Let's slowly build you up. And once you start feeling comfortable with investing more, we've got to look at the objectives of each channel. Often social, it's not really a main lead driver because you're not on social for the intention of converting. You are on Google for that intention. So I would say 100%, if you could start off with it, have an omni-channel strategy. But my advice is, and this is not talking with a bias, this is just purely honestly looking at the intention of these softwares, you start off with Google Ads if your intention is lead generation, obviously.
Great. I see there's a great question here from Donna Durian. Is this useful for event marketing or only product marketing? I think, Donna, I mean, I can tell you that, you just need to look at users' behavior. I think services are performing incredibly well on Google, whether you're an eventing service or a professional service. You don't necessarily have to be selling a product on Google for you to be successful. Ultimately, Google is an online platform that is intent driven, and you're trying to intercept customers at their moment of intent. And the longer you're out of, you're not there, you're out of sight and out of mind. So just think of your own behavior. And if you would go to Google to look for your good or service, Google advertising is the perfect place for your business to be.
I mean, I can tell you, we have got a hell of a lot of success in the service space. People go there. Your geyser bursts, you need a plumber. That's a service. So there's a hell of a lot of services out there. And again, this isn't. And I've heard some questions about SEM, SME industry benchmarks. And at the end of the day, you can't look at benchmarks per blanket SMEs. Each industry, each website, each budget we're gonna have to look at its own benchmarks. And this is where we try to flip the coin and look at re-intercept the conversation with our clients and instead of looking at industry benchmarks, we take it a step back and look at what type of returns are you expecting from this channel, and look at how much you can make from a sale, and then work backwards and start looking at benchmarks that are often skewed and really don't help the conversation.
All right,
another
I've got a good one. Off you go.
Yeah, go.
No,
I just wanted to go to Donna Reed. Can we get great results with a small budget? Could this be done in-house, or would you recommend an agency? Donna, for me, great question. As I said, obviously we prefer, you need to have a certain appetite to invest into the space. And I'll be quite frank, if your margins aren't big enough and if you're not going to make enough return to give this, as I said earlier, 90 days, then you might want to hold off a bit before getting into the space, because it is all a function of budget at the end of the day. But saying that, depending on how you shape the account, you can always start off, and we specialize in the SME space. That's how we've built this business. We're not a large scale agency. We built for the small and medium sized business. So most of the time, guys are not coming to us with ginormous budgets, which puts us under more stress, even because we've got to perform even more. Every rand spent from an SME is a hell of a lot more important than Standard Bank, if you want to call it, or one of these big corporates, because it means a hell of a lot more. So I would say you can, within reason. And with regards to in-house versus agency, I mean, truthfully, I'll tell you, and I always push, go to an agency. I put my pants on every day and I do Google ads. I've been doing this for 7 years. We've got a mountain of experience. We're up to date with the latest trends and products of Google. Often guys doing it in-house, you don't have enough time. Like, you've got to run your own business, and this is a full-time job, looking, analyzing the data. And again, you're spending money to do this. So if you are not doing it correctly, then, are you going to squeeze enough juice out of this?
I think, Darren, this comes to a good one. I think the follow-up on that question kind of talks to Jenny Strauss and Pamudzo's question about, what is the average budget for a small company? And what you're saying is hyper relevant, but how do I know where to start? Guys, I think, Google has multiple solutions, and we're actually spent the last 3 months developing solutions for SMEs to find ways to enter Google without having to spend an inordinate amount of money. But, I think Google as a platform is slightly more expensive than other platforms. So, if you're in the infancy or startup stage in your business, it depends on what your goals are. But ultimately, what we use Google for is to help, as Darren said in the presentation, to get your brand and business in front of new eyeballs in their moment of intent. So, if you have a marketing budget and you're willing to understand what marketing budget you're happy to invest in order to gain a new customer on this platform, that should be the metric that guides you in terms of what budget is required to be successful on the platform. Darren, do you have any final questions you want to wrap up with? Is there one more that jumps out at you?
I mean, I've got Cheryl Singleton. Do we have to wait about 3 months to ascertain digital Google results? And again, I mean, that goes, to be honest, straight back to my point of looking at data in short periods and not looking at trends. Cheryl, at the end of the day, it takes time to optimize and refine an account. This is all about data-driven decisions, and with that, we need to collect data. If we are not collecting enough data, we're not going to be able to, one, optimize effectively, and two, really, get enough to make valuable decisions. So this is not even from us. This is from the big dogs, Google. You need about 90 days to actually refine an account. And this is why, if that is too long for you, and I'm not saying you're not going to get results. You could get a result in a week. This is not about not getting results, but you need to have the appetite that you're going to fluctuate. There's going to be a lot more instability in those first 90 days. So you need to be able to be patient and look at, right, if I can get this right, if I can push this past those 90 days, if we can get into something consistent, I've got an online sales team that's not sleeping. I can work out my returns from this, and everything coming from this is going to be new business one. Past that, there's going to be a hell of a lot of word of mouth that's going to come off that. We can only measure direct results coming from us, but there's always a broader impact that's happening past that point.
Great. All right, let's go for two more questions. Ruti Katz, it's great to see you on the talk, and I really hope you're feeling better. What marketing online channels does a company who sells PPE should be using at this moment? Well, Ruti, the good news since we chatted last is Google's actually loosened up their policy around this, and there are ways and means for you to advertise on the platform specifically for PPE in a under very strict guidelines. But we know that this is it's a heavily popular business right now based on the pandemic that's happening. So the good news is there has been adjustments in the policy in the last few days. So feel free to reach out to us.
Well, I mean, I'll give a bit of light on that. The policy currently is only allowing for cloth masks. For obvious reasons. You must understand Google's trying to protect the greater interest of everyone on the search engine. At the beginning, people were getting scammed left, right, and center. So that every policy they're putting out can't just be for commercial gain, and needs to be in the interest of the users who make the system. So they've eased it out slowly on cloth masks, face visors. You'll see there's shopping ads for only in the shopping tab, but I haven't come to see any search ads or shopping ads on the search page just yet. So, it's one of those things that you gotta try out. It's got to fit Google's policies for now. And even then, I've seen now, there's a hell of a lot of accounts going into review for these type of things on a day-to-day basis. So, we just got to go with it and with the pinch of salt for now and see how it slowly opens up.
Okay, then I think last question to finish up, Philip Barker. I think we're doing a great job. Why would we engage Search Kings in one sentence? As Darren said, it's a global Google Premier partner with over 4,500 customers around the globe. And between our business here and in the US, 65 certified Google Ads specialists, we really get to understand the inner workings of Google, and we'll tell you practically if you are doing a good job and we can't add value, then we'll send you on your way and wish you the best of luck. So if anyone on the chat wants to do a free account evaluation, please feel free to visit our website and book that in. Danny, I hope you've kept track of the best 5 questions. So you guys are going to win a free account evaluation to the value of 650 Rand. And again, I just really want to thank the community, Dennis and Danny and Darren, for sharing his expertise. And I hope we've left you with some practical tips that can help you grow a successful business on Google and get the most out of your Google advertising market.
And guys, just before I leave you, also, thanks to everyone. I hope it was engaging and practical at the end of the day. But please give us a follow on LinkedIn, myself, Brett, and most importantly, Search Kings. We've got some amazing content coming out on a monthly basis for digital advertising. That if you find this was insightful, I'm sure you guys will enjoy. They're going to be quick articles, nothing too long, but really high impact. So give us a follow on LinkedIn, Search Kings Africa, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Great. Thanks so much to Brett and Darren from Search Kings. That was an amazing presentation. It's refreshing to be able to look at the current crisis, as difficult as it is, as one huge opportunity or gold rush, as Brett referred to it. We've just been given some fantastic insights into how we can start using Google more effectively to grow our customer base. Thanks so much, Brett and Darren. Before you leave, a final reminder that all sessions are being recorded. There have been a lot of questions on the chat about that, and you'll receive emails with links to them shortly. We look forward to helping you to continue your journey of driving traffic to your website and winning new business. The next part of this journey is OnlineX's July triple play, as you can see on our screen. This month, it's all about learning how to execute the most effective digital campaigns to win customers and grow your online business. Join us for 3 interactive webinars, as you see on your screen, where the top minds in the digital game will show you how to use LinkedIn, Facebook, and SEO to grow the quality and quantity of your website traffic. The Triple Play series will run on the 15th, 22nd, and 28th of July. Pick the one that best suits your needs, or even better, attend all 3. They'll be really valuable. Bookings for this will be opening within the next few days. So please keep a lookout for further correspondence and all the social media posts from the OnlineX team about these new online gatherings happening in the coming weeks. Thanks again for your attendance. Good luck with your Google strategy, and goodbye.